What if I told you that the most loving thing you could do for your adult children is to keep certain truths to yourself? I know that sounds backwards. We've been taught that honesty is always the best policy, that sharing our hearts brings us closer together. But here's what I've learned after decades of living and watching families navigate the complex dance of aging parents and grown children. Sometimes love looks like silence. Picture this. You're sitting at your kitchen table, your adult son or daughter across from you during one of their rare visits. The words are right there on the tip of your tongue. Complaints, regrets, disappointments that have been building up for years. You want to share them because, well, isn't that what family is for? But what if those words, once spoken, can't be taken back? What if they create burdens your children were never meant to carry? Today, I want to share 7 things that many of us feel tempted to tell our adult children, but absolutely shouldn't. These aren't secrets to keep because we're ashamed or dishonest. These are acts of love, gifts of protection that allow our children to live freely while keeping our relationships healthy and strong. If you've ever wondered where the line is between being open and oversharing, or if you felt that urge to unburden yourself to your kids, this conversation is for you. Because sometimes the wisest words are the ones we choose not to say. Number 1, never criticize their grandparents. Let's start with something that feels almost natural to many of us, talking about our own parents and the mistakes they made. Maybe your father was absent when you needed him most. Maybe your mother was critical and cold. Perhaps you've carried these hurts for 50 or 60 years, and now in quiet moments with your children, you find yourself saying things like, "My dad never supported my dreams," or, "If my mother had just believed in me, my whole life would have been different." It feels good to say it, doesn't it? Like finally letting out a breath you've been holding for decades. But here's what happens when we do this. We're not just sharing our pain, we're teaching our children that it's okay to blame their parents for their problems. We're showing them that resentment is acceptable, that holding grudges is normal. Think about it from their perspective. When you blame your parents for your struggles, what message does that send about your relationship with them? They start to wonder, will mom blame me someday for her disappointments? Will dad hold me responsible for the choices he made? The gift of forgiveness. Instead of passing down blame, we can pass down something much more powerful: forgiveness. This doesn't mean pretending your parents were perfect. It means saying something like, "My parents did their best with what they knew at the time," or "Every generation learns from the one before it." When we model grace instead of grievance, we free our children from the fear that they'll someday be held accountable for our unmet expectations. We show them that love doesn't keep score. Number 2, never complain about your spouse. Here's another tempting territory: sharing your frustrations about your husband or wife with your adult children. Maybe you've been married for 40 years, and let's be honest, those years haven't all been sunshine and roses. There have been arguments that went unresolved, dreams that didn't align, moments when you wondered if you chose the right person. It might feel natural to confide in your children about these struggles. After all, they're adults now. They can handle it, right? Wrong. When we complain about our spouse to our children, we put them in an impossible position. That person you're criticizing isn't just your partner, they're your child's other parent. When you say things like, "Your father never listens to me," or "Your mother has always been selfish," you're asking your child to choose sides in a war they never signed up for. Protect the foundation. Your children built their sense of family on the foundation of your marriage. When you chip away at that foundation with complaints and criticisms, you make them question everything they thought they knew about love, commitment, and relationships. Even if your marriage has had its challenges, focus on what worked. Say things like, "We've had our ups and downs, but we've always been a team," or "Marriage taught us both how to compromise and grow." Your children don't need to hear about every fight or disappointment. They need to believe that love can last, that commitment matters, and that their own relationships have a chance to succeed. Number 3, never compare your children. This one might be the hardest to avoid, especially if you have multiple children who've taken very different paths in life. Maybe Sarah calls you every Sunday and remembers every birthday, while Michael only reaches out when he needs something. Maybe David has a stable career and a nice house, while Jennifer is still finding herself at 35. It's so tempting to let those comparisons slip out. Why can't you be more responsible like your sister? Or, your brother would never forget to visit me in the hospital. But here's what those comparisons do. They poison the relationships between your children and make each one feel like they have to earn your love by being someone they're not. Each child is their own story. The child you're praising feels pressure to always be perfect. The child you're criticizing starts to believe they'll never be good enough, and both of them begin to resent each other instead of supporting each other. Every child develops at their own pace and faces their own unique challenges. Instead of comparing them, celebrate what makes each one special. Say things like, "I love watching you figure out your own path," or "You've always had such a kind heart." When our words build up instead of tear down, we create space for all our children to shine in their own way. Number 4, never dump your health worries on them. As we get older, our bodies start sending us messages we've never received before. Doctor appointments become more frequent. Aches and pains become daily companions. Health scares become real possibilities. It's natural to want someone to talk to about these concerns, and our children seem like the obvious choice. They love us, they care about us, they want to know what's happening in our lives. But there's a fine line between keeping them informed and overwhelming them with every medical detail. When we constantly talk about our health problems, every test result, every sleepless night, every new symptom, we turn our children into worried caregivers before they need to be. They start living in fear, constantly waiting for the next bad news call. Share what matters, keep what doesn't. Of course, your children need to know about serious health issues that might affect your care or their planning. But they don't need to hear about every minor ache or routine checkup. Instead of saying, "I couldn't sleep again last night because of my back, and I'm worried it might be something serious," try, "I'm working with my doctor to manage a few age-related issues, but nothing urgent." Give them peace of mind, not anxiety. Let them enjoy their own lives without constantly worrying about yours. Number 5, never make them feel financially responsible. This is a delicate subject, but one we need to address honestly. As we age, many of us face financial pressures we didn't expect. Maybe retirement didn't provide as much security as we hoped. Maybe medical bills are piling up. Maybe we're realizing we didn't save enough. It's tempting to hint or outright ask for financial help from our children. After all, we sacrificed so much for them when they were young. Shouldn't they be willing to help us now? The problem is, when we make our financial problems their emotional burden, we create guilt and resentment that can damage our relationships forever. Preserve their independence and your dignity. Your adult children have their own financial pressures, mortgages, student loans, their own children's expenses. When we make them feel responsible for our financial well-being, we force them to choose between their future and our comfort. If you truly need help, ask directly and honestly, without guilt or manipulation. Say something like, "I'm in a tough spot financially and wondered if you might be able to help, but I understand if you can't." Better yet, work with a financial advisor or social worker to explore other options first. Your children should feel free to help because they want to, not because they have to. Number 6, never constantly complain about everything. Life has dealt you some hard blows. The world has changed in ways you don't always like. Your body doesn't work the way it used to. Friends have passed away. Things aren't what they used to be. All of these feelings are valid and understandable. But when every conversation with your children becomes a list of complaints about your health, about the world, about other people, about how hard everything is, You become emotionally exhausting to be around. Your children love you, but they also have their own struggles and stresses. When they call or visit, they're hoping for a connection and positivity, not a download of everything that's wrong in your life. Choose connection over complaints. This doesn't mean you have to pretend everything is perfect. It means being selective about what you share and how you share it. Instead of focusing on what's wrong, try to find something positive in each conversation. Ask about their lives, share a happy memory, talk about something you're looking forward to. Your children will be much more likely to stay in close contact if they associate talking to you with feeling good, not feeling drained. Number 7, never make them feel guilty for living their lives. This last one might be the most important of all. As our children build their own lives, careers, relationships, families, they naturally have less time for us. This is normal and healthy, but it can feel painful. It's tempting to make comments like, "I never hear from you anymore," or "I guess I'm not important enough for a phone call," or "I sit here all day waiting for someone to care." These guilt trips might get you a phone call or a visit in the short term, but they damage your relationship in the long term. Your children start to dread contact with you because they know they'll feel guilty no matter what they do. Release them to love you freely. The most loving thing you can do is release your children from guilt about living their own lives. When they call, don't make them feel bad about not calling sooner. When they visit, don't make them feel guilty about not staying longer. Instead, express genuine gratitude for the time they do give you. Say things like, "I'm so glad you called," or "It was wonderful to see you," even if it was just for a short time. When your children feel appreciated instead of guilt-tripped, they'll want to spend more time with you, not less. The power of loving silence. Now, you might be thinking, but if I can't talk about any of these things, what's left to say? The answer is plenty. Talk about the good memories you've shared. Ask about their hopes and dreams. Share stories from your own youth that might inspire or entertain them. Express pride in who they've become. Talk about current events, books you've read, shows you've enjoyed. What to say instead? Instead of complaints and criticisms, try these approaches. Instead of blaming your parents, say, "Every generation learns from the one before it, and I'm proud of what our family has become." Instead of criticizing your spouse, say, "Marriage has taught me so much about patience and compromise." Instead of comparing your children, say, "I love seeing how different and special each of you are." Instead of overwhelming them with health worries, say, "I'm taking good care of myself and working with my doctors." Instead of creating financial pressure, say, "I'm working on my financial planning and exploring my options." Instead of constant complaining, say, "Tell me about something good that happened to you this week." Instead of guilt trips, say, "I'm proud of the life you're building, your legacy of love." The truth is, the things we choose not to say can be just as powerful as the things we do say. When we hold back our complaints, our criticisms, and our disappointments, we're not being dishonest. We're being loving. We're saying, "I trust you to live your own life. I believe in your ability to handle your own challenges. I love you enough to carry my own burdens so you don't have to." You are still growing. Remember, this stage of life isn't about becoming invisible or irrelevant. You still have wisdom to share, love to give, and relationships to nurture, but the key is knowing what to share and what to hold. Your children need you to be a source of strength and wisdom, not another burden to carry. They need to feel encouraged and supported, not criticized and controlled. When you master the art of loving silence, you give your children the greatest gift possible, the freedom to love you back without reservation, guilt, or fear. If this message has stirred something in your heart today, take a moment to breathe and reflect. Maybe there are conversations you wish you could have over. Maybe there are words you wish you could take back. That's okay. Every new day is a chance to begin again, to choose your words more carefully, to love more freely. and to create the kind of relationships with your children that bring joy instead of stress. You are not too old to change. You are not too set in your ways to grow. And your children are not too busy to notice when you choose love over criticism, encouragement over complaint. You matter. To those of you listening who sometimes feel forgotten or overlooked, please know that you matter. Your presence in your children's lives is a gift, even when it doesn't feel that way. Your wisdom, your love, and your support are more valuable than you know. The goal isn't to become silent or invisible. The goal is to become intentional, to speak words that heal instead of hurt, that build up instead of tear down, that free instead of bind. If this conversation helped you see your relationships with your children in a new light, please leave a comment below. Sometimes just knowing we're not alone in these feelings makes all the difference. If this video gave you something to think about, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to Golden Threads of Life for more conversations about navigating this beautiful, complicated journey of growing older with grace and wisdom. Remember, your story isn't finished yet. Every conversation with your children is a chance to write a better chapter, one filled with love, acceptance, and the kind of wisdom that only comes with time. Here's to choosing our words carefully, loving freely, and creating relationships that bring out the best in everyone involved. Until next time, keep weaving those golden threads of life with intention, love, and hope.